Well, a very good performance from Australia, winning this one by 36 runs. But Nasser, how would you sum up England's day?
Well, firstly, I enjoyed the day. It was a classic, T20 game in that it was a high-scoring one, which we've had some low-scoring ones. Even here, great venue, great crowd, great weather. So I've enjoyed the day. I'm not sure England and their fans enjoyed it as much. Australia just outclassed them. They put in a complete team performance. 201 was too many on that pitch, even with the short boundary. And you've spoken to Moeen Ali. The decision to bowl Jacks the second over on gut feel backfired. I don't mind that. Sometimes you have a bit of a gut feel. It went against England. He got smashed. But I didn't like the way England were too slow to go to their slower balls and cutters. I really see England sort of almost obsessed by pace, and we can blow away the opposition with pace. I think it was a pace off pitch and not pace on, and England didn't adapt quick enough.
How did you sit?
I thought the decision to give Will Jacks a second over was odd. It's easy to say that in hindsight. Of course, if he gets a wicket, we all say it's a genius of a move. But it'd be interesting to know whether it was predetermined or whether because that first over went well, that's the way they went. But I think it's odd on a couple of accounts. One is England have kind of gone with pace. That was their thing before the Scotland game and before this game, because at the toss twice I've asked Jos Buttler about Reece Topley, who both of us probably thought should have played when we spoke yesterday, and that's not a hindsight thing. And Jos says, well, we're going with pace, and yet they start with two off spinners. Now, one off spinner to the long side, fair enough, with two left-handers in. Will Jacks is pretty inexperienced. He's the kind of off spinner who's quite slow and floaty. Of course, it could have paid off against the lefties, but it was a high-risk strategy, and a strategy that then cost 22 runs. And obviously, what Australia did really well was pick their moments, because then the fourth over, the first one that was bowled by Mark Wood, also went for 22. So they were very smart in targeting that short side. I thought Australia were really clinical today, batted really well, sized up the conditions excellently with the ball, took pace off a little bit quicker, or a bit earlier than England, and were very good value for the win.
The other thing that was noticeable just looking out the window, I mean, England got done on over rate. They had to bring that extra fielder back in for the last over from Chris Jordan, who bowled it pretty well. Butler's a long way away. Moeen Ali's running around. Other people are talking to the bowlers. When you look down, does it look like Buttler is in complete control, or are we raking over old ground as to whether he should be keeping or not?
I think we're raking over old ground. He said it to you in the pod in the first game when it rained at Headingley. I'm fine. I know exactly what I'm doing. I can run that far, and we have senior players around like Moeen Ali who can run and offer advice. It doesn't look good, but that's no reason to say that that's what's causing England problems. I just think that for me, and these conditions here, now don't go to Antigua and overreact. Don't play the team there that you should play here, if you know what I mean. Reece Topley, for me here, tall bowler, bowling it into the surface, bowling cutters, getting bounce and getting the odd one, keeping low, is a better option for Barbados and these conditions than quicker, skiddier bowlers like Mark Wood. Because if I'm batting out here, I want pace on the ball. What I hate is when pace is coming off. We saw after the power play with Australia, the likes of Stoinis, the likes of Cummins, the likes of Hazelwood, just rolling their fingers down the side of the ball. And Brooke couldn't get it away, Bairstow couldn't get it away, Livingston couldn't get it away. It was really tricky batting. So England have got to, whatever their pre-plans were before the tournament, they came out here in a white ball tournament, I think Rob Key called it a slugfest, where the ball was just disappearing everywhere. Just make sure you read conditions a little bit better. They didn't do that in the 50-over World Cup. They're not allowed any more mistakes now. There's no room for wriggle. There's no room for any more mistakes in this tournament.
And that's sometimes when they play their best cricket. Moeen Ali said that to me. Well, we lost in the T20 when they won it down in Australia. Had to win the remaining games, and they did. Similar thing in 2019. Yeah,
but not a similar thing in the most recent World Cup in India, where they got off to a bad start, and the moment the pressure started to ramp up, the management or the leadership didn't find a way of dragging the team out of that downward spiral. So I think it's a very important week coming up for Jos Buttler and Matthew Mott. They have to try and learn from those experiences in India, not panic. Obviously try and make the right calls, both strategically and with the team. In India, they made some wrong calls. If you remember at the toss, Jos Buttler on that baking day against South Africa in Mumbai. I don't have a big problem with trying to chase here. I don't think when you focus in on why England lost today that the decision at the toss was a major factor. I just don't think they sized up conditions quickly enough. And I did think at the start England looked rattled when they were put under pressure by David Warner and Travis Head.
As Nasser said, though, Australia were right on point, and their main point man, and has been for a while now, Adam Zampa, that turned the game.
Superb. I mean, he's very experienced. We chatted to him yesterday, if you remember, actually, and about coffee, but actually he's not many of the Australians are that experienced in the CPL. He's had quite a bit of experience here, and if you remember what he said to us was that he loves it here, he loves the Caribbean. So I think sometimes it is quite important when a player comes to either a region or an island where they're happy and they feel comfortable. Adam Zampa obviously loves playing in the Caribbean, and traditionally of late pitches have helped in the Caribbean, certainly in Trinidad, in Guyana. Here a quite dry pitch. If you actually either bowl cutters or you're a spinner, you can get a bit of purchase on the ball and get a result. So he's a very experienced, very fine one-day bowler. And Australia showed today why they are feared as a tournament team. You know, England have got a very good record against Australia in T20 cricket. I think we've won 6 out of the last 7 completed T20s. Only one of those was in a tournament. Come tournament cricket, Australia tend to get things more right than wrong.
If England are going to progress, they might need a bit of help with the weather, i.e. don't rain, because if they get one abandonment like we did against Scotland, that could be them cooked. And the net run rate's 1.8.
Yeah, they can't afford any more errors either with the weather or with the way they play. They've got Namibia and Oman. Hopefully Antigua, I don't know, he's the local here. Antigua weather will be a little bit better than Barbados.
I have no idea.
Oh, neither have I.
But, I mean, we've already had one day's rain in Barbados, and that was the Scotland game, so it should be absolutely fine. And they need to win and win well and get their planning right. And then once they get through, listen, this is still a very good England side. They've just had a slow start to the tournament.
Okay, well, England fly tomorrow morning to Antigua. For those 2 games, they need to win.